Hello, Chiefs. I'm Daniel, and today I want to slow things down and walk through a decision that, on the surface, might feel familiar, but from a situational football standpoint, it tells us a lot about where the Kansas City Chiefs are headed. When you strip away headlines and reactions, the return of Eric Bieniemy isn't really about nostalgia, and it's not about chasing something new just for the sake of novelty. From a red zone and third down perspective, this move is about restoring a specific type of structure, one that directly affects timing, accountability, and decision-making when the field gets tight and the margin for error disappears. When you watch the Chiefs inside the opponent's 20-yard line, you're not just watching plays. You're watching conversations happen in real time. You're watching how quickly Patrick Mahomes processes leverage. You're watching how Travis Kelce manipulates space against condensed coverage. You're watching how Andy Reid sequences concepts to stay one step ahead of defensive rules. And in those moments, coaching voice matters more than people realize. Let's start with what the red zone actually demands. Inside the 20-yard line, the defense no longer has to protect the deep field. Safeties compress. Linebackers don't have to gain depth. Passing windows close faster, and every route has to win earlier. That means spacing has to be exact, motion has to serve a purpose, and the quarterback's internal clock speeds up. The four powers within, principate house, and that's within spoilers area, not because they run exotic concepts, but because they execute familiar ones with discipline. When Mahomes hits the back foot and the ball is out on time, that's not improvisation, that's trust and structure, and that structure is built during the week, in meetings, on the practice field, through repetition and correction. This is where Eric Bieniemy's presence becomes relevant again. From a situational lens, one of the quiet challenges for a veteran quarterback, especially one as gifted as Mahomes, is that success can sometimes blur accountability. Not in effort, not in preparation, but in details. A half second late on a throw, a check that's technically fine but not optimal. A red zone read that works because you're Patrick Mahomes, not because it's the right answer every time. Bieniemy has always been a coach who addresses those details head-on. When Andy Reid talks about Bieniemy being direct, that's not coach speak. That's about having someone in the room who will pause the film and say, "This worked, but here's why it shouldn't be your default." That matters immensely in the red zone, where defenses are begging you to be just a little impatient. Think about how the Chiefs have historically separated themselves on third down. Third down is where play design and quarterback discipline intersect. Defenses disguise late. Coverage rotations happen post-snap. The quarterback has to confirm, not guess. Mahomes has always been special here because of his anticipation, but anticipation only works when route depth, timing, and spacing are precise. During the years when Bieniemy was heavily involved in the offensive flow, the Chiefs consistently ranked near the top of the league in third down conversion rate and red zone touchdown percentage. Not because Mahomes was freelancing more, but because he was freelancing less and choosing his moments better. That distinction is important. Freelancing in the red zone is a double-edged sword. Outside the 20, creativity can stretch coverage. Inside the 10, it can collapse spacing. Bieniemy's coaching style has always emphasized understanding when the play is designed to be the answer, and when the quarterback is allowed to become the answer. That's accountability, and it's not punitive, it's clarifying. When Mahomes spoke at the end of the season about wanting a coach who would coach everyone the same, including him, that speaks directly to situational football. Because situational excellence isn't about stars making magic plays. It's about stars eliminating avoidable mistakes. Look at Travis Kelce in the red zone. His success has never been about speed. It's about leverage, timing, and understanding defensive rules. Kelce thrives when the quarterback and play caller are aligned on exactly where the stress point is in the coverage. That alignment doesn't happen on Sunday, it happens during the week, through blunt conversations and honest feedback. Bieniemy brings that dynamic back into the room. This also impacts the run game. Isaiah Pacheco's downhill style sets a physical tone, especially inside the 10-yard line. But red zone rushing efficiency isn't just about toughness. It's about sequencing. You don't run to score immediately, you run to force defensive adjustments. You run to change linebacker fits. You run to make play action believable. Andy Reid's best red zone stretches have always featured intentional sequencing. run, quick game, motion, then the counter. When that sequencing slips, defenses start sitting on roots. Having an offensive coordinator who reinforces that patience helps the entire unit stay on schedule. It's also worth noting that this isn't an indictment of anyone who was previously in the role. From a strategic standpoint, coaching staffs evolve, voices rotate, and perspectives shift. But sometimes, when execution inside the 20 becomes slightly inconsistent, the answer isn't reinvention, it's recalibration. From a film-watching perspective, the Chiefs' red zone issues in recent stretches haven't been about lack of ideas. They've been about execution at the margins, a missed landmark, a route flattened too much, a throw made before the coverage fully declares. These are fixable problems, and they're the exact problems that benefit from a direct, detail-oriented coaching presence. Historically, some of the Chiefs' most important postseason moments came when they leaned back into structure. Think about long playoff drives where the offense stayed patient, converted third downs, and finished with touchdowns instead of field goals. Those weren't highlight reel sequences, they were methodical. That's the identity this move reinforces. When you project forward, the biggest takeaway isn't about change or hierarchy or even personality. It's about standards. The Chiefs don't need Mahomes to be more talented. They need him to continue being precise. They don't need Kelsey to reinvent his game. They need him to keep winning at the top of routes. They don't need Andy Reid to overhaul his system. They need the system executed cleanly in the moments that decide games. From a Red Zone Kingdom perspective, this hire signals an emphasis on situational sharpness. It tells us the organization is looking inward, identifying small inefficiencies, and addressing them with experience rather than experimentation. When you slow this all down, you see a team reinforcing its foundation instead of chasing headlines. And for a group that lives and dies inside the red zone, that's usually a sign of a team that understands exactly where championships are won. Daniel, and when you look at this through the lens of situational football, this move isn't about the past. It's about tightening the details that matter most when the field gets short and every decision counts.